In the 1950s, there was a movie that came out. It was called This Island Earth. At the time, it was a big deal, a big science fiction movie. It was probably the first interstellar science fiction movie where Earthlings were actually taken off the planet and got to see another other world, another alien world somewhere. And it was actually based on a book. When you look at the movie now, the special effects seem so primitive and everything. But at the time, according to people who were little kids when they went to see it in the 50s, this movie was like the Star Wars of its day. But anyway, I always liked the title of this movie, This Island Earth. I mean, that's what this is. We are living on an island. Basically, Earth is an island. And that's how I view it. I mean, I think everybody should view it that way. This is, just an island. And what's going on here is that there are other travelers out there in this sea of space that come here sometimes. And we don't know what they're really up to or anything, but obviously they're coming here. They're more intelligent than we are because they're able to travel great distances via technology that we're just not capable of understanding at this point. Obviously, our scientists don't understand it because most of the scientific community will tell you it's impossible. That's because we're just not advanced yet. They're not advanced yet. I know a lot of scientists out there fancy themselves as the smartest living creatures in the entire universe, but it's just not the case because they're not. There's obviously other beings that are smarter than us at this juncture. I mean, we will get smarter eventually. Our scientists will get smarter eventually over great periods of time. Our scientists will advance. I mean, our scientists right now today, no, they're not going to understand things. They can't. We're just not capable of it. They're not mentally capable of it. They can't accept that. So, but the fact of the matter is, it's true. That's what's happening right now. And there are obviously beings that have come here from someplace else, and they figured things out. And it's no different than, there were times like in the long past, like say, let's go back to the 1700s, like a British ship, for instance, will travel to Tahiti, and greet the natives of Tahiti, and at that time, the Tahitians, they didn't have the capabilities or the technology, or they weren't advanced enough to travel great distances on sea in ships because they didn't have them. They basically had outrigger canoes, things like that. They just, when the British Navy shows up in this big ship and it's, capable of lasting a long time at sea, it's, there's a lot of space in it for a lot of men to sleep and eat and live, and places to store food and drink, and for a long journey. Like the Tahitians didn't have that kind of technology at the time to do something that was similar. Like you wouldn't see a ship from Tahiti showing up in England, and that's basically, in a way, when you think about what's going on with space and Earth, I mean, it's basically the same kind of concept. There's going to be some places on Earth where the denizens are going to be not as technologically advanced as the inhabitants of some place else. That's why when you go to a certain place, a certain island, sometimes there'll be people they don't even have. Maybe they don't even have boats yet. There were times where people showed up. They didn't even have that kind of stuff yet. They weren't even at that point. And basically, that's what's happening here. When you look at the planet Earth, basically, it's just one big island, right, amongst billions, trillions of other islands that are out in this universe. And there are things that have come here in the past, right now, and that will come here in the future. It seems right now that the prevalent visitor right now are these gray insect-like beings, and apparently reptilian-type beings, and maybe some other things. But there are things that are here, that are coming here for purposes pretty much unknown. We're starting to get some ideas. They might be trying to colonize the planet and maybe boot us off, whatever. Just like we would, just like when people from arrived in the United States and in America and North America, we got rid of the American Indians. We took over. So maybe that's what's happening here now. And maybe not. Maybe they're on some peaceful junket. I don't know, but they're here, and that's what's going on. And there will be things in the future too that come here. Who knows from where, and if there'll be friend or foe, it remains to be seen. And we don't even know right now if these things that are coming here right now are friend or foe. They keep their distance, whatever they're up to. It's very secretive. But right now they are they've colonized part of our island, right? That's what's happening here. They've colonized part of our island, and eventually do they plan to expand across the entire island of Earth? I guess that's the big question. But that's how I'm starting to look at this. Basically, we're just we could be an outpost. We could be just a place, a docking spot. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe this is a place where these things come and hang out for a bit on their travels to someplace else. Could be that too. But meanwhile, they do have to eat and everything, which explains the cattle mutilations. And the drainage of blood from those beasts. But maybe they're interested in other things too, like hybridized. If the hybridization thing is a real deal, well, that means that maybe that's a way to take this whole thing over in a way. I mean, you'll have as time goes on, as that hybridization program expands, and there's more and more hybrids among us. Well, what's the purpose of that? I mean, what's the end game there? You have to start to wonder. Is there some? Are they being stationed strategically at different spots across the world in different groups? Groups of them, at some point, will their purpose be revealed? Or maybe it won't be revealed. Maybe their purpose is when whatever happens, whatever goes down. Maybe it will be just a surprise. We might not even know what happened. We might not even know what hit us. We just might all just wake up one day and we're not living in the same world we were the day before. We don't know how this is going to go down, folks. But there's beings here, and they're coming from other places, other land masses, other planets. Oh, not land masses. I meant to say planets. But in this whole comparison with islands and planets, that's basically what's happening. They're coming from different places, and they're coming here for some purpose unknown to us. We're going to find out at some point. It's just not been totally revealed yet. But they're here. They're here, and we have ignorance is rampant on our planet right now with regard to this. A lot of this is by the design of our government officials that are keeping this a secret. The secret groups, hidden inside the group of the Pentagon that have full somehow authority over this whole situation and keep the truth from the people. Why are they keeping the truth from the people? Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's because these travelers from other places are up to no good, and I think it's very possible that this island Earth at some point will be not ruled by humans, but will be actually ruled by a race of beings that came from someplace else. Very similar to how humans have basically subjugated other humans and taken over their lands over the centuries. And so it's just going to happen on a different kind of scale now. It's happening, and the human race as a whole. I mean, there's going to be no discrimination. It doesn't matter what you look like. That's not going to be of concern to these beings. They're just going to take over at some point, and they'll put their flag on this planet, just like we put an American flag on the moon back in '69. Anyway, it's just a thought. Doesn't make me right. I'm just throwing her out there. It's just thoughts I have sometimes. But it's something to think about.